You want to climb what everyone agrees is the most dangerous and scariest mountain in the world, and then snowboard down. Why?
I've been thinking about this for 10 years, and this is the eve of the real attempt. Making turns at 8,850 meters without oxygen is going to be a real challenge.
As soon as the avalanche came in, I was on my back. It just took me right out.
Calling from the north face of Everest, Stephen Koch, Jimmy Chin, Lakpa Sherpa, and Kami Sherpa have all departed to start their ascent of the Japanese Couloir.
Gotta go give it a try, get up there and see what happens.
I am very honored and excited to be here to share some stories with you about 20 years of my life as a pioneering climber and snowboarder. I read about the 7 summits in a book called The 7 Summits by Dick Bass, who was the first to climb them. And I thought to myself, wow, that's an amazing challenge. I think it's possible to snowboard them, and that has not been done. They had not been skied or snowboarded at that point. On Mount Owen, which is the second highest of the Teton Peaks, it had not had a ski or snowboard descent. I was partway up, and I heard a noise above me. And I thought, oh no, that can only be one thing, that's an avalanche. So I put my ice axes into the snow. Literally took these ice axes, drove them into the snow, kicked my feet with my boots on, trying to stabilize myself to hold on against the avalanche, because I'm an optimist. There was nowhere for me to run. I'm in a couloir. I'm thinking to myself, this has got to stop. I'm going to be dead if it doesn't. And it got quiet. I thought, oh, thank you. It's done. It's over. And then I realized I was launching in the air over a cliff. I can breathe. I can still breathe. So I started breathing fast. And I took my climbing harness off, and I made a ball of it, and I sat on it for a little insulation from the snow. And I sat down, and I breathed. And I hugged myself. But my back would hurt so much I'd have to sit up, and I'd twist it, because that relieved the pain. I didn't know it was broken then. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have done that. But then I'd get cold, and I'd go down. All night long, I did this. The songs that went through my head, there was a common theme. Waiting for the Sun. Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. You know that song? Yeah. And then the Doors, the Waiting for the Sun. Finally, it pops up right about the time that I hear a helicopter. This helicopter lands above me. I hear the footsteps of the climbing rangers get louder and louder. And then I look up and I see them. And they see me, and we say the same thing. We say, man, am I glad to see you. My goal was to go back to Mount Owen and make that descent, but I was going to do some things differently. I was going to take those blinders off that I had, those blinders of ego that I had, and do things right. I was going to check the conditions. I was going to go with a partner. I was going to bring the right avalanche equipment. Eventually, after 2 more tries, went back to Mount Owen and made that first descent. It had never been skied or snowboarded, and it felt so good to go back to the mountain less than a year later, making all those changes. And I love this quote. It's whatever you can do or even think you can do, do it now. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it. In order to work well with teammates, you have to have trust. And in order to trust, you have to be vulnerable. And that's not easy. That's not how I was raised, to be vulnerable. But that's something that I learned, because if I wanted to take things to another level, climbing and snowboarding with teammates, I had to be vulnerable. I had to take risks of the heart. Having a system of communication, and with teams and partners, time together is one of the ways to grow. And you gain experience together, and you work through the risk, and then you have great reward. What flow is for me in partnership is unspoken communication. It was the best climber in the world is the one having the most fun. Well, at this moment, these guys were the worst climbers in the world. The one who stays below does not know what is above. So when you get up there, you get the perspective of the top. And this video shows you that. I had my son, my first son was in my wife's belly at the time. She was 5 months pregnant when I was here on this mountain. So I made a little video to her. It was a little windy. I was 29.
29?
Yeah, during the avalanche, yeah. Hi.
Why didn't you just pray when you went to the avalanche?
Oh, I did some praying too. Yeah, I did some praying, but I also had to take care of myself and take it one step at a time.
You know, God probably made you so you know to pray and do some movements. So you can.
Yeah, God is pretty amazing.
So have you tried kite snowboarding yet?
I did. I was one of the early ones to do that here. I actually was the first person to do that in Antarctica.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I was the first kite snowboarder there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
In 1999, I did it.
Sweet.
Yeah. Nice. What's your name?
India.
India. Nice to meet you. I'm Steven. Thank you for your questions.
How many vertical of in the Everest did you snowboard, for example?
Like on Everest, like 5,000 vert.
5,000?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Do you use oxygen mask in the Everest?
No oxygen on Everest. See that? Yeah, it works great.
99%.
Which is the most difficult climbing one? I think Cerro Torre was the most difficult. What's your name?
Sharon.
S-H-A-R-O-N? All right, there you go.
Paulo. P.
P?
A.
A? What's your name?
Mar. M-A-R.
M-A-R? That's pretty. Is that sea? Does that mean the ocean?
Yeah.